Hey Taurus, we are on the second to last stage of the hero's journey at the resurrection. I've also seen this stage named as atonement as well, or atonement with the Father. I'm going to go with the resurrection theme that I've seen most talked about. And again, this is based on the 12 stages by Christopher Vogler, whereas Joseph Campbell has more like 17. But this is my F the system reading, because we've got the Hierophant in reverse here as a significator, and I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. uh, but the Hierophant in reverse, I mean, felt really fitting between that and the Empress card for this major Arcana series here. And the reason being has a lot to do with the macro scale right now, or the macro view, the things going on in the world, but also on that micro individual level. It's about finally winning the battle against whatever the big bad final boss is for you. So this would be like the climactic fight in a movie or a story after those previous stages where we'd been beaten down and we just needed a little bit of a glimmer of hope to keep going, and we got knocked off course, but now we're back on it. And this is the big climactic fight. And so I feel like a lot of us are very fed up with the system, the establishment, with all of that right now, to say the very least. And that Hierophant in reverse, it's like turning those established systems on their head, or like revealing the flaws in the weak points in the shadow side of the system. uh One of the books that keeps coming up in conversations, I'm seeing it start to be referenced uh in social media posts, things like that, is 1984, George Orwell. I think that's a really fitting book for the present time. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend. There's the audio book version as well that you could just listen to while you're doing something else. But I want to shuffle for, just on an individual level, kind of bring it back down to center. What are we going up against with the Hierophant in reverse? What's that system to us individually? Nine of Pentacles. And there's, I don't know if you can hear the siren outside. That all happened at the same time. But that seems like a warning, like a false promise. Like, how many of us, went to school, took on student loans and whatnot, and then found out, oh, employers don't pay the cost of living. They require you to have these degrees, but they're not paying you enough to pay off the education. Like, the cycle continues. Uh, so false promises is something that we might be standing up against, and that is whatever the respective system is for you. If you have any, which I hope you do, established expectations in like a romantic relationship and those aren't being honored, or you were maybe unfortunately love bombed or something like that, then this could be representative of that, that you're seeing the false promises come through. It's like, if you've ever been in an like an abusive relationship, even just an unhealthy relationship. It doesn't need to rise to the level of abuse necessarily. But when the mask starts to fall, like when you start to see their true colors, behind closed doors that they don't show to other people. I think a really good litmus test in a relationship, if you're wondering about how you're being treated, if that's healthy, unhealthy, etc., have they ever treated you like that in front of another person? Just a question, you know. And you might even be questioning your overall view of relationships, of the 9 to 5 hamster wheel grind, things like that. So a lot stirring, because this is that culmination of the previous stages of the hero's journey, and that this is your time to shine. This is your time to stand up against whatever it is you're facing. So let's get another card. I'm going to expand on this. The High Priestess in reverse. Interesting. So a lot of the time I've heard these two referenced as like a pair, like the Emperor and the Empress, and you have the High Priestess and the Hierophant. But I've also heard the Magician. That's also a good pairing for the Hierophant or the High Priestess. And I think that makes more sense. So, is there someone who kind of represents, it like echoes the Hierophant in reverse? Because the Hierophant would be like the Catholic Pope, and then the High Priestess might be, High Priestess in reverse might be someone maybe posing as like a spiritualist, a mystic, but they're really Catholic. I don't know why someone would do that, but it's almost like to interfere with what it is you're doing or what it is you're trying to achieve. It's just there's someone that is acting more enlightened than they truly are, or like a chameleon. Like back to the love bombing example, when someone wants to gain trust with you like inappropriately quickly, mirroring is a thing, like a technique to build trust quickly. You're like just copying, like, oh, I love to go hiking, and then the other person will be like, oh my god, me too, and then suddenly it kind of opens this door of, now you feel comfortable and you're offering information instead of observing this new person in your life. And I don't want you to shut down to new people, but it's not unreasonable to scrutinize others. Like the timeline, particularly when it comes to dating, these arbitrary timelines that people operate on are really, they just throw me for a loop. Uh, like it's the convention is the third date is the sleepover date. If that's like someone brand new that you just met, like on a dating app or something, and you've only been on 3 dates with this total stranger, that doesn't feel like enough time to me. Let's get another card. So why, well, just a clarifier. Oop. That is too many. I'm taking the bottom one. Queen of Shards, Queen of Wands. Have you reconnected? Feels like a reconnection with the creative fire. Because like wands, the suit of wands, it always makes me think of Kenaz. It's like is this the greater than symbol in math? I don't know. But it's that just human drive to create that if you're grinding away at a 9 to 5, that's a really difficult fire to stoke sometimes, just, getting overwhelmed with life. And this high priestess in reverse, do they want in on what you're doing? But in a really self-serving way. Like it's going to be presented as a partnership, but they're really just trying to ride your coattails, ride on your success, steal your 9 of Pentacles, your independence. Fine print on a contract is what just popped up. Read that. So here on the left, or actually I want to start on the right. I don't know why I usually go for the left, but why is this high priestess up in our grill? What's the deal? Do we know this person? How would they know that success is coming or a wish fulfillment? Well, I mean, I guess that would be the 9 of Cups, but the 9 of Pentacles, like independence, how do they know? Sideways. The Chariot. Cancer season, which starts like tomorrow. Trying to impede your progress. I mean, trying to sabotage your success? Why? Let's get another. Oh, and happy Juneteenth, happy Freedom Day. I also felt like that was really fitting for this stage of the hero's journey, because this is the resurrection to bring something new into the world, to really fight for what you believe in, for what you've been, like, this is the day you've been training for, and right now Venus and Uranus are in Taurus right now, and Venus is Taurus's ruler, so I think that's an exalted position. And then Uranus, I can only guess from the myth that would be more of a detriment, maybe. There could be some conflict there just because Uranus is Aphrodite's father, Venus. But that's also like the birth of something new. And Uranus was at like 29 degrees. So it's about to change signs. And those generational planets, the outer planets, they take so long to move through signs. Maybe this is something you've been working on for a really long time, and somebody's been watching your progress. And I don't mean like somebody's stalking you. Like, if that's the way you feel and you have a suspicion of that, like work with the appropriate people for sure. I just mean that, is this someone who, like, it's like the Looney Tunes cartoons. Um, they look at you with dollar signs in their eyes for some reason. Let's get another card. Clarify the Chariot. Why are they trying to sabotage the success? Because if they see you with dollar signs in their eyes, are they just trying to, like, commandeer your success? Is that the right word? Uh, how would that even work? Freshen up the energy a little bit. With this one. Queen of Vials, Queen of Cups in reverse. They want to mess with your success to make you lose your ish? Why? Like, that's the part I don't get. Why though? Like, why would they? Is this reactive abuse? Like when you poke at somebody and you poke at somebody and you poke at somebody, and then that person finally reacts, and then the person who was poking is going, see, they're unstable. For what? For why though? That's what I don't get. Really, really hidden motives. We'll keep digging. Why does this person want? Because this almost feels like I'm envisioning a chariot in like a gladiator race or something, that, like, you know, they slam into each other to make them biff it and whatnot. Yeah, kitten, meow. You had your salmon. Don't even. uh, but yeah, like those gladiator races when they like sideswipe each other and they have like the pointy bits on the wheels. Very Mad Max. Page of Vials, Page of Cups. Because they didn't learn? Is this a grudge? This is like a personal vendetta. This is what this feels like. Ma'am, can we not? Can we maybe not do that? Just meowing into the abyss. Uh, was this someone who was like putting on a front to try and establish a relationship with you, like take a friendship to the next level? But I feel like you didn't know. Like, this is someone who has like concocted attraction in their head. It reminds me of like my barista days where like I was just doing my job and it was interpreted as flirting. And I feel like this person, this high priestess in reverse, or even the Hierophant in reverse. I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on your situation, but they have like misinterpreted signals and then misinterpreted rejection based on the like original misinterpretation. Like this seems like someone who kind of needs a reality check. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, gets in. They need a reality check. She agrees. So on the left, tell us about this person. What is the nature of this person? Page of Gems, Page of Pentacles. Someone who they want great success, like monies, but they didn't learn. They haven't learned from previous mistakes. Like is this just a person who relies entirely on like other people's success to get by? Like it's bringing me back to that love bombing of ugh, gosh, I hate this example, but it's the one that's coming up. So I had a parent in the home that rotated through potential partners fairly quickly, and ones that were had access to money or were vulnerable or both. I observed a lot of love bombing. Like a lot of things would suddenly change around the house that would be like their thing, and the personality would like mold to this new person, and it seemed like, as with many relationships with people with antagonistic personalities, it was the partner that benefited them the most that they were after, not who they were most compatible with necessarily. Because I remember in one instance hearing like the story of how they met, and that like when you know, and whatnot, and just like hearing all the things that were happening. I remember getting the ick and then washing that away because they were involved with my parent. I don't want to think those things about my parent. But now the things that I saw them go through would be huge red flags to me if someone was trying to move that quickly with me. And it's so difficult when you're in that situation and you've got those blinders on, those rose colored glasses. It's so hard to see it. Let's get another card here. So somebody that wants status, but is using other people as stepping stones to achieve it. Just taking that bottom one because that's a big chunk of the deck. Temperance in reverse. So I'm sticking with this love bombing example. I feel like this is someone, if they like offer to work with you, to collaborate with you, like whatever that situation might be, like go on a date or something, and you set boundaries or you say no, I feel like they're going to lose their ish. You're going to see some sort of anger issue, that mask fall really quickly. And one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard was no is not the beginning of a negotiation. If you've said no because it's a hard boundary and they don't respect that, don't give them, do not give them an inch, because we romanticize like the chase, like the pressing past, like, oh, she's just playing hard to get, she's saying no, that must mean she wants me to pursue her harder. Don't do that. That's bad. And it's like one of those, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I struggle to see how that is good intentions though. Like when you're hearing the word no and you're like, oh, that must mean yes. I don't know. Nope. Four of Swords. Rest. Give yourself an opportunity to take space from this individual. Anybody that comes forward trying to push past your boundaries, whatnot, if you do end up in some sort of heated argument, that doesn't mean you were supposed to say yes when you said no. If they get mad, that's their problem. So, how about some advice? So, how do we get through our resurrection onto the return is the next stage? I'm going with that little chunk there. That's three. So we've got the Eight of Wands in reverse. That's a delay. Two of Wands. That's, I mean, I want to say journey, but it's kind of like, I don't know, someone just kind of looking out at the ocean, pondering about what they're going to do next. It's that idea energy of just like maybe analysis paralysis, because we've got the Nine of Swords, Nine of Stones here. But as advice, if there's some sort of delay on a path you're on that's causing you strife, stress, so forth, nightmares, I wouldn't immediately interpret that as it means you're on the wrong path. I think a delay might be presented in this on your path, like this, trying to throw you off course, slam the chariot into one another. A wrench might be thrown in the gears to try and get you to abandon course. Now, it's every situation is different. I can't tell you what to do, but it feels like stick with it. That it's like what I was saying with, if someone has a big reaction to you saying no, that doesn't mean you're supposed to say yes. Just means that they've got some regulation stuff to work on. But that can be upsetting to be on the receiving end of. And I don't remember if I said that this is the Dark Crystal Tarot, and then this is the Lunar Nomad Oracle. We'll get an overarching theme, maybe a little insight to like what's on the horizon. One more. These are hard for my tiny little hands to shuffle. But what's on the horizon past this delay? Whoop, on the floor. So energy that needs to be grounded. A little literal on that. Ooh, one came out reversed. Tree is reverse. And Rider is upright. The look of determination in her eyes, it just seems like, yeah, go ahead and try and stop me. And there's a camel, there's cactuses, and I don't know what bridge that is. I don't know if that's a Brooklyn Bridge or Golden Gate, but this feels like I will stop at nothing to achieve my goal. Regardless of the delays, if I have to go through the desert, I'm getting there. And then tree, there's a few woodland critters here. The ones that's sticking out to me is the butterflies because they just look so different than like the more realistic art. We've got 3 different birds. I only recognize the magpie, squirrel, and a rabbit. I feel like whatever this is, whatever's going on, they want to interfere with it because it's a big deal. I don't know why. Maybe you just have the humility to almost look past the importance of what it is you're doing, but they don't. They can see that this is worth disrupting for some reason. So they must have some sort of different perspective than you. I don't know if it's access to different information or just like a hunch. Maybe if this is somebody who's like serially taking advantage of people, maybe they can just kind of sniff you out, you know? But let's get a song. Taking the bottom one here. No Way Back, Just Through by Trivium. That feels very fitting because this resurrection stage of the hero's journey, this would be like you almost have to win, you know, making it this far. Like it would not, I don't know, it would just be such a bad ending if, you know, you didn't overcome at this point. And maybe there is more strife in this climactic battle, whatever it is you're dealing with. And Strife is another song by Trivium. But if you're going up against some sort of system, I don't think you've bitten off more than you can chew. Maybe it's just more of a, oh man, this is like right at the limit of what I can chew, like what I can take on. And if you're going up against something that could positively impact a lot of people, because maybe this is coming out in the reverse here, because if you don't follow through with this, a lot of people will be negatively impacted. Like, no pressure. Um, but it's like the butterfly effect. Like, it almost reminds me of, I can't remember if it's, I don't think it's principalities, it might be virtues. I think it's virtues. But the angels that are like the wing of the butterfly effect. Like, we never see that flap of the wing, but we do see the effect. I hope that metaphor is tracking. But it's just like, you don't know the ripples that you sticking with it are going to have. And my inkling is that it's for the highest good of all. As long as that is in your heart, that you are walking forward with keeping yourself in mind, trying to be healthy, make healthy choices, while also making healthy choices for others, I think you'll land in the right square. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. And if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.